What's up, YouTube?
He's deadly serious about this first pitch he's throwing.
I can't believe that's a thing that happened. Why did that occur?
Tweeting out the link.
Good, good. So many goals in this. I'm just going through my notes. My God.
Whew. Oh my goodness.
Goal.
I'm ready to go. YouTube only content.
Just make sure I actually have YouTube only content. Do I actually have all the goals noted? It's because the last two happened right at once. Okay. So the first US goal is the Jedi flip. The second US goal is the Peppy finish. The third US goal is the Aronson goal finish. And the fourth US goal is the almost Peppy second goal, but the jet sweeps it. I am ready to go.
All right.
I am recording. Let's do snaps in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Starting at 9:40 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Whoa!
I didn't see you there.
Whoa! I did not see you there. I was Greg in the whole time. I think. What just happened? Welcome to We the Peeps. This is the American Soccer Podcast in which you are going to unpack the wildest sequence of events that would conclude this World Cup qualifying window. And by that I mean learn everything that you need to know about the USMNT. I am Clayton, and I'm an artist.
I'm Ty, I'm an entrepreneur.
And we love the Nats.
We do. We really do. The second half. We love the second half a little more than the first half.
We love second half Nats. Let's go, boys.
Wow.
Insert here.
And chairs. Chairs.
Ah, yes, yes. YouTube only content.
Peace.
Oh, I love the PJs over there you got going. Oh, let me turn off my extension.
Oh my word. What a window.
Oh,
what a game. What a
right.
Sports. Yes,
YouTube only content. Not drunk, just clumsy. Okay,
The
guys.
Clayton Fujimura story.
That's the Clayton. That's the Clayton universe.
Surprisingly, not drunk.
That is my Yelp review. My most relevant, my most helpful Yelp review. Okay, shall we? You ready?
All right, let's go.
And insert. Folks, the game was USA versus Honduras. That is what the game was. Spoiler alert, the US would win, victorious. 3 points out of this game, 4-1, somehow, some GGG way. What in God's name has just occurred? We're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to solve it. We're going to figure it out by the end of this episode. You're going to totally understand what is going on with these gnats. All the ins and outs. Don't even worry about it. I promise. But first and foremost,
my Atlanta.
Oh my FG. But first and foremost, let's get to some housekeeping. Ty, can you start the housekeeping while I pull up our new patrons?
Of course, I can start the housekeeping. So the first item in housekeeping is welcome to We the Peeps.
So not ready.
At WTP Pod, we need reviews on iTunes. 5 stars preferable. Like and subscribe. You can follow us on YouTube.
that's what happens when you sub tie in for the housekeeping. I'm
out of position. I'm being played dramatic.
You're being played dramatic. That's what happens. Just play people in their positions. It's going to be fine. We have 2 new Patreon subscribers. Guys, this show is not free to produce. We're not going to stop doing it, but we are making sacrifices. And every single one of you that has decided to become a ratified peep for $5 a month, that's 5 billions of Jurgen bucks. But how many?
This is the emoji I give you.
How many Anthony Jedi Bitcoin is that?
Jedi coin.
Jedi. How many bits of the Force is that? I don't know, but it's 5 human American dollars. And we have 2 new Patreon subscribers that we have to shout out right about meow.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with, this one could, for me, go either way. It's George or perhaps Jorge Menocal.
Thank you.
Thank
George,
you.
Welcome
on in. And Daniel Miller, someone who is a finger trap, my neighborhood soccer team, just became a ratified peep. So we're so grateful to you. Daniel Miller's out here participating in American soccer culture like a good citizen. And
it means the world. Thank you.
It means the world. It means everything to us, truly. And of housekeeping, keeping, sweep, at WTP Pod on Twitter. Guys.
What real quick, I forgot in my bad housekeeping, but we are getting close to 100 iTunes ratings. And so we would love to get to 100. The Centenario de WTP would be
Can
to
you get us there?
iTunes ratings.
Can you guys help us get
review,
there?
That's even better. But if you help us get to 100 iTunes ratings, that means that we will get ranked higher when people search for USMNT, when people search for World Cup qualifying. As people get hype about this exciting soccer team.
It's something you
they
can
will
do
be
for
searching,
us.
and we want them to find us. And if you like this show and you want other people to find, please leave us a nice review on iTunes.
It's a thing that you can do for us, and it's also a thing that you can do for them, because you don't want them to find some crap ass podcast that doesn't come back at the end, that starts out slow. You want them to find the dope ass We the Peeps podcast. You notice I didn't name any names because I don't have any real shade out there for other US soccer
not firing
podcasts.
any shots. I would
No shots
edit.
fired. No shots fired. Just allow them, do them that favor. Help them find us by giving us a
All
ring.
right, let's go.
Let's do this thing. 2 hands, Maddie. 2 hands, Turner. It's your day.
Hands, no feet.
2
It's your
hands,
boy.
no feet. It's your boy. Okay, I'm going to attempt to give what I believe is the lineup.
It's still unclear.
It's still rather
very
unclear. I think we had a back line of Mark McKenzie at left back, perhaps. Brooks Robinson center backs, Adams at right back. I think that's what was happening. There was Jimmy Sando and Kellen Acosta in the midfield, of course. And then we had George Bello at left wing, perhaps. Josh Sargent at right wing. And then Ricardo Pepi at the 9. I know that. There's no doubt about that. The only person whose position was clear at the outset of this game is Ricardo Pepi at the 9. And Pulisic at the 10, we think. Something along those lines. Does that sound
I don't know,
close enough?
The Messi role, wherever he wants.
The Messi role. Guys, the U.S. looked up for this in the opening minutes. Truly, as bizarre as the position was, as confusing as the lineup was, some of these choices made, the personnel. We had a lot of questions coming into this, but I will say on an individual level, the U.S. looked quite up to it. Oh, and if I may add, much Weston McKennie discussion in the build-up to this game. Lack of Weston McKennie. Sent home. Okay, that is the context. We have a McKennie-less Nats playing a mysterious, amorphous formation, but looking up for it as individuals. Sadly, after about 20, 25 minutes, Honduras would score and break our hearts. Truly, our hearts on the stream on YouTube, the hearts of the fans, and it appeared the hearts of the players on the field. It was a very long passing sequence. It was a good, solid goal, a nice finish off the head, bouncing cross. GGG looked like he was about to throw up as he watched the monitor and rewatched this goal. Very, very concerning times. There was another Honduras chance shortly after that, an epic curler from one Rubio. 34th minute, I have a note that the time wasting has already begun, folks. We are CONCACAFing that early on. In the 48th minute, before going into the half, I have to note there's a Matt Turner literal 50-yard throw to release Pulisic. It didn't come to anything.
Literal.
But there was, Ty pointed out that this is quite reminiscent of a certain of a certain Tim Howard throw to one Landon Donovan. Have you heard of him?
Heard of him?
Do you know that guy? It was pretty cool to see. We like that. A quick little throwback. We're losing 1-0 going into the half. Not a lot of confidence, lots of complaints. Twitter is blowing up. Twitter is just exploding at the seams. And then, we come back from halftime. Surprise, surprise.
What happened during halftime? What did we discuss?
Okay, so at halftime,
things are falling apart. What did we say?
We said, why don't we just play people in their positions? First of all, what is happening with this formation? Way too crazy. Second of all, we thought perhaps we would like to see Brendan Aronson. We threw out the name. Sebastian Lletget would be nice. And then Anthony Robinson, why not? So we threw out some names.
We looked at the bench. We were like, these are the players who probably should have started.
Yeah.
Now continue. What happens at the beginning of the second half?
So Brendan Aronson, Sebastian Lletget, and Anthony Robinson get subbed into this game. And we were feeling like wizards in the booth. Like we had made this happen. They come in for Josh Sargent, George Bello, and John Brooks. Anthony subbed in for Anthony, which is pretty cool, I guess. Shortly, and in just moments, it took minutes for this to result in a goal. It was a breakaway. Christian Pulisic slots this out wide to Lletget, who goes in for the shot. It ends up deflecting out to Anthony Robinson, who volleys it home. And then it's a beautiful finish. It's through some traffic. And then he Jedi flips. I have a picture of this in my background on YouTube. He Jedi flips. It's the most incredible celebration. And side note, this play was started by Ricardo Pepi and then almost finished by Ricardo Pepi. The deflection prevented Pepi from scoring this one himself. So Anthony gets his goal. It's 1-1. Okay. And then this game starts to look a little bit different. What happens over the course of the next 20 minutes? There's a few key moments. Okay. First of all, the goal, the positions, the U.S. is back in this game. You can feel it. There's some real pressure. There's crosses coming in. And then just as that pressure is building and mounting, Mason mounting, and it's looking good, Christian Pulisic goes down with an injury. He soldiers on for 5-6 minutes, but it is not to be. Pulisic would come out of this game, unfortunately. Christian Roldan comes on it. Why not? And then Tyler Adams makes an interesting decision in which he just starts playing the 6. So he was at right back, and he just stopped doing that. I would love to know what this conversation was like, if he explained this decision to anyone, if there was a conversation. It looked from the outside like he just, the one play like brought him to the 6 by circumstance, and then he just stayed there and just kind of kept playing there. The team looked really good. GGG catches on and subs in DeAndre Yedlin for Jimmy Sando, who, was whose position was being played by someone else who's better at it at the time. Yedlin comes in. GGG does another behind the back pass, bounce pass, which is the the trope, the theme, the beautiful motif of this World Cup qualifying window.
Overcomplicating a simple action.
But it must be said, I'm not sure if it was Tyler Adams at the 6 or the backwards bounce pass, but something led to a goal. It was a Yedlin cross in, and who else? None other than Ricardo Pepi.
Couldn't be anybody else.
It had to be, to take us into the lead. It's a beautiful finish off the head, upper 90. Donald Wine sighting in the celebration.
Freaking out.
Just losing his mind. Choo-choo motherfucker goes the choo-choo train. Ricardo Pepi has done it again. This time, it's for the Nats. Okay. In the 86th, we would get yet another goal. After that goal, it never felt like Honduras was going to find their way in. There was potentially a tie in this until that goal, but once Pepi put that away, it was the U.S.'s day. It felt like 86th minute, Roldan to Pepi to Aronson, the very effective, very impactful Brendan Aronson with another very beautiful durable finish. Very durable, reliable, triple A, AA Ronson, the double A. And then in the 92nd, just to really seal the deal, Tyler Adams out to Ricardo Pepi, who's finished just barely saved, almost had his second. If you really look back, there could have been a Pepi hat trick in this. And who's there at the right place at the right time? Mr. Fix It. Trust him. You love him. You know him. Sebastian Lletget. Most basic ass celebration, white toast celebration I've ever seen in my life. Right on brand, Sebastian. 4-1. US 3 points, 5 points in the window. Ty, what were your first impressions?
The beauty of this game is that in an instant, the fortunes of a team, a community, a nation can pivot dramatically, suddenly, from dismay to sheer joy. And what happened in these 45 minutes of this second half is one of the most incredible turnarounds, one of the most important stretches of time that we have seen in recent US soccer history. Because we are on the way to a coach potentially getting fired, a team potentially leaving the first round of World Cup qualifying in the freaking cellar of an 8-team group in CONCACAF, of Honduras substantially leapfrogging the US in the standings, having a major hole, being in a major hole, having a major hill to climb to get out of this qualifying stage.
We've all got major holes, Si.
And so what happened is such a giant flip of the situation from negative to positive.
It's perhaps a
Greg in. The team is what we thought they were. The young generation is taking hold. Stars are being born. Contracts are being created. Careers are being made. And it's in these moments, these pressure-packed moments, that these pivotal things happen. And this is what we live for as fans of this team. I mean, the World Cup is so much that we can hardly take it. But just this version of it, this beginning of the World Cup, in our way of putting it, is so delicious to experience the highs and lows of this journey with this team. Seeing these not just soccer players, but these men, these young men on their progression through life, trying to do things that are really, really hard, trying to reach the pinnacle of their profession. So this was an absolutely incredible experience. I could not believe that it happened. It's almost unprecedented in the modern history of the team that there would be an offensive explosion like this in such a difficult environment. So congratulations to the team on finding a way, pulling it together, and averting a disastrous history.
Real quick, paint the picture for the folks. I think if you're new to the team, if you're Daniel Miller and you're just getting in on this situation, you may not totally understand how big of a deal, first of all, 4-1 in general is in Honduras in World Cup qualifying. Second of all, 4 goals in a half in Honduras in World Cup qualifying. How rare of an occurrence is this, really? Just that half.
So we've never scored 4 in Honduras in any competition. We rarely play there, so we mostly have played in qualifying. Never scored 4 there, let alone in a half. I should have looked, but I cannot recall a time when the US has scored 4 in a away qualifier at this stage, this final stage. Usually they used to play this preliminary stage, and they would play like, especially like one of the smaller like island, Caribbean teams. And those teams, the US could steamroll away, like the Barbadoses of the world, for instance. But in this round, what used to be the hex now is the octagon.
The octo.
The ocho. Yeah.
The ocho.
I can't remember this happening, let alone in a half. So it's beautiful. It's stunning. I really couldn't believe it when I woke up this morning that actually happened.
It actually
and what
happened.
It means is that we are, after all, we are truly witnessing a profound sea change in what is possible for this team. And that's what we thought coming in, but we started to lose that faith. Through 2.5 games in this qualifying cycle. We started to think, oh shit, this wasn't what we thought. This wasn't the change, the lasting change that we thought we were going to see. But I have total renewed faith that this team will continue to set records, break streaks, do things that no US team has ever done before. Because this kind of thing is just, it's so surprising. We're so used to frustration. We're so used to a stifled US attack that to see it finally come together in this way against a very difficult opponent in a very difficult environment is just so encouraging. It is unbelievable to me.
It brightened my month. This changed
Totally.
This may have changed my year. If we're gonna butterfly effect this, but let's not even go there. It just changed my mood. I came downstairs to my roommates with a glow. I just felt so different. It's true, we were losing hope. Let's get this one out of the way because it's all the rage these days. GGG. As I have to say, my GGG branding is totally on point. It's just enough, a little too late. We get exactly what we wanted in the second half of this game, and it fucking works. And what now, Ty? Are we GGG in? Are we GGG out? What are we GGG-ing these days? Because this starting lineup is fucking confused balls, and the way it looked was confused balls. And the second half is amazing. And it's not that he wasn't not involved in that. We saw no subs versus Canada, insta subs in Honduras. What is happening? Do we support this guy?
I think I can support it as long as things continue to end up working out. The ride is killing me. It's taking years off my life to experience the highs and lows of this situation. And the guy, over and over and over, we've seen him make the wrong choice with the lineups. We've seen him make the wrong choice with call-ups. We've seen him make the wrong choice with the players he commits to, the players he gives major time to. But we've seen him fix that. So we saw him over time get from a roster that featured Daniel Lovitz, Nick Lima, Jackson Ewell in different eras, right? To a roster for this World Cup qualifying cycle that was really solid. I mean, going into the camp, we felt like maybe there were one or two players we'd have a quibble about, but it was pretty much the reasonable kind of consensus choice of who should be involved in this phase of qualifying. So he figured it out. He got there. The lineup against El Salvador was okay. So there were some things in El Salvador that could have gone better, but I think that was mostly a performance problem. I think that's mostly a mentality problem. Then we get into Canada. Some weirdsies start to show up. We get a couple weird things going on. We end up with this situation where we desperately need changes, and Greg sticks to his guns and refuses to change the lineup. So he waits until the 83rd minute to make a voluntary sub. He has to make one for injury. He keeps the rest in his freaking back pocket until the 83rd minute. And then we go into this circumstance in Honduras where you mentioned Weston McKennie missing. We're missing Serginho Dest. We're missing Giovanni Reyna. So we're missing 3 instant starters from the team. We're missing several other important role players, including Yunus Musa out through injury, Tim Weah out through injury. So it is a compromised version of what the team could be. And Greg reacts to that by doing something freaking weird. So he essentially trotted out, you try to describe it. I mean, to me, it was a 7-3. It was a big block of defense, no midfield, and 3 attackers. One of whom was Josh Sargent out of position.
Right. I agree with that read. I would just say that Bello was both.
Okay, I'll give
Bello
you that.
was a sideline marauder. The weird thing about this.
Anyway, so
okay, finish your Greg take.
He rolls the dice to try something. I didn't hate that. I was okay with him rolling the dice. I wish he had rolled it in a little bit more of a sensible way. A guy like Sebastian Lletget, who's obviously an important piece for the team. It took us longer to realize that than it took Greg, but then he doesn't play him. And then in the Canada game, when we desperately need a goal, he doesn't have the trust it takes to put Ricardo Pepi on for 20 minutes, but he's willing to just chuck him in to the most important match of qualifying.
Go 90, kid.
To go 90. I mean, it makes no sense. And I don't know what I'm missing here. And nobody can seem to tell me. So I don't feel like I'm missing something. I feel like he just makes odd and sort of overcomplicated decisions.
Yeah.
Especially when he's under pressure.
Yeah.
And he had the sense, and maybe he didn't have the sense. Maybe the players came to him and said, you got to fix this. These 3 guys got to come in. We're going to, straighten things out, 4-3-3 like we always do, and we'll take care of it. You got to trust us. Maybe that's what happened. But one way or another, he figured it out. So for me, am I in? I don't love this experience. I'm in the corner, I'm watching these
tiny
games.
Time.
I'm watching these games, having a heart attack every 15 minutes about something crazy that Greg does. But we got out of there. I mean, it's an unprecedentedly good result in Honduras, which is a really hard place for us to go. And so, I feel like Greg is kind of hobbling this generation. Like this generation could be going so much more smoothly, but there's these trophies over the summer, and this camp turns out to not be that bad. 5 points from these 3 games, not great, but not terrible. Definitely around my expectations. So I'm confused, but if I were in charge, I don't think I could find it in me to fire the guy based on what we have seen. So I guess that makes me in.
Well,
sorry, I just burned like 5 minutes exploring my feelings.
No, I mean,
all of US soccer
is there
fandom is exploring their feelings.
I think we're all trying to figure it out, and hearing your thought process is helpful. I guess it's tough to do just ins and outs, and what does that mean? Like if you're in charge or as a fan. As a fan, you can be out because you don't actually have to make decisions. It's a lot easier.
You can be out at halftime of the Honduras game.
Yeah, it's totally different than being in charge and having to actually make this decision. I just want to say real quick about the opening thing, just because I'm interested in the tactics. Let me know on Twitter what your read of this was. I saw an asymmetric sort of hipster haircut tactical formation happening with Bello as a offensively minded wingback and Adams as a defensively minded wingback, which made Sargent a skewed sort of like a dropping in wing attacker, with Pulisic as a penetrative wing attacker. So you have Pepe, and then you have Sanz Acosta, symmetric, and then you have everything else around them is just like a tilted frame, a tilted picture frame.
Circle. It was like a circle.
Yeah. So
but what it looked like to watch the players try to execute
let me just say, if this was not an extremely important World Cup qualifier for a team that I've invested way too much in, I would have been very interested in this. If this was like a Leipzig Sunday, I'd love watching this. So cool, so interesting, innovative. You could argue fits the personnel that was on the field in ways. So there's something interesting here. But I think what you mentioned, you're sort of, I feel like where you're coming from here is the problem is Greg doing the most complex thing when the pressure is the highest, when in fact we should be doing the most complex thing when the pressure is the lowest, and when it's the highest, we tab ball.
Yeah, and we had a very illuminating discussion during the game. We were live streaming as we usually do these days. You can find us on YouTube. You can put us on your laptop, as you watch the game. And we were discussing at halftime, would it be better to just throw on the biggest dudes we have, send Zimmerman to go play striker, and just lump the ball into the box as much as possible, or reset the situation, start fresh, and just play tab 4-3-3 with the best way we possibly could given the personnel. And we did decide at halftime that the tab 4-3-3 method was the way to go, because we still at that point had a scintilla of hope and faith that all the work that the team had put into working in that system, not just under Greg, but for every youth team they've ever played for, and a lot of them in the professional situations, that would actually pay dividends. And that's what ended up happening. So I think what we learned is exactly that. In the moments where things are getting crazy, the solution is to make things simpler. Yeah. When the emotional intensity is very high, when the pressure is very high, the solution is to make things simpler. I think the exception is if the opponent is bringing something tactically to the table that's like so good that you can't overcome it with your normal tactics. But that's not what we were dealing with. We were just dealing with a team that wasn't performing up to its potential, right? And so the solution was to let it ride. And we saw that in the second half. The team finally exploded offensively the way that we've been waiting for them to do the entire camp. Yeah. And really the way we've been hoping to see in competition ever since this generation got started 18 years ago under Dave Saruman after the Trinidad loss. Exactly,
18 years ago. Yeah, I think it's worth, just a quick review, a quick generation recap here. In competitive play, the Nations League and the Gold Cups, we have never seen a stretch of offensive firepower like this. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure.
This good of an opponent. I mean,
okay, so maybe there was a group.
The opponent.
maybe there was a group stage for nothing that I'm forgetting about or something. But
okay,
so
I think like maybe the Martinique game, did the US put up a big number?
All right, so
there's been a couple,
let's tighten the scope a little to the recent Nations League and the recent Gold Cup. What we did see, which was encouraging, was USMNT moments. We saw passion, heart, fight, grit. We saw all kinds of names that we didn't know very well step up, do the thing.
Spilled.
We saw winning. Beautiful. But it was a lot of set piece goals, and it wasn't a lot of, and it wasn't quite yet what the bill of goods we feel sold. This 45 minutes was exactly what we thought this team could do. And it's so special and it's so important. And what I think adds even more to the drama here and the stakes is that it didn't come from Giovanni Reyna. It did not come from Tim Weah. It did not come from Christian Pulisic. It came from Anthony Robinson, Brendan Aronson, and Ricardo Pepi. That is who turned, those are the names that turned this game around. If I told you midsummer,
stunning.
At the height of sun, the summer solstice, if I told you, we will go in with 2 points to our third World Cup qualifier, and Brendan Aronson, Ricardo Pepi, and Anthony Robinson will turn it around for us.
Save our ass.
We'll save our ass. You wouldn't have, you wouldn't have bet a penny with 1,000,000 to 1 odds on that happening. It's so beautiful. It's an incredible combination of sort of the inspiring Nations League, like Pulisic, McKennie, Adams. I guess not Adams, but Pulisic and McKennie led. Victory against Mexico in the final, right? That was amazing to see. And then we saw a Gold Cup of like, wow, who is Miles Robinson? And like, what is happening right now? And like, George Bello having moments all over the place, and Luca Busio having moments, right? All these new names stepping up to the plate. This is this beautiful hybrid. It's a nice red blend of both of those, because Anthony Robinson, he is in that generation of fresh young European players that promise something for the future, but he's never one of the names that people bring up as the reasons to be excited about this team ever. Brendan Aronson, same story. So it's blowing my mind how well this turned out compared to just how poorly it truly was going.
It's like you go down for Christmas morning, you open all your presents. The presents are wonderful. And then you get a package December 26th. More presents? There's more of you? And you're just as good as the other ones.
Dude, we gotta,
it's amazing.
Let's take a second to celebrate.
We are so spoiled. Let me just take you back. For anybody who's new around here, roughly 4 years ago, when the US was trying to qualify for the last World Cup, the team was chock-a-block with 30-something, either already washed up or about to be washed up players, struggling, wilting in the heat of Central America. I mean, it was rough to see. Losing a huge match at home to Mexico to start things off, losing away in Costa Rica, getting, little shreds of hope now and again, and then just getting crushed again. Losing at home to Costa Rica in New York City, the very worst place in the country to play Costa Rica, in front of a boisterous crowd of Costa Rican fans. I mean, it was just so glum. And you had this older team, and you had young Christian Pulisic coming in as, really the one representative of this potential new wave we had on the horizon. So for me as a US fan, to look at this team now and see not just Pulisic, but dudes who can play just as well as Pulisic, it is just truly stunning that this sea change that's happened in just 4 years, everybody out the window, and it's all these kids doing their best, making it happen, and finding, finally finding some success, finding a foothold in qualifying. It is just beautiful to watch.
I want to take a moment to give the MVP, USMNT MVP, Olympic qualifying window to Brendan Aronson.
World Cup qualifying. We're not getting the Olympics back.
God damn it. All right,
Yeah,
leave it in. We're leaving it in.
I'm fully with
Brendan
you.
Aronson. Brendan Aronson did not have a bad minute in this tournament. 2 goals, I think, maybe an assist in there. His press is on point. So many of our opportunities are coming from Brendan Aronson. And when you watch some of these games and see Christian Pulisic on the field, but having nothing to do with the game for 30 minutes at a time, and every 90 seconds, Brendan Aronson is
something positive,
coming at someone, doing something.
Checking too, he's pressing.
This kid just can't stop impressing. He can't stop getting better. This is another level. I mean, it's great to see him at the club level, but to come in with this roster, and I know there were a lot of injuries, but to come in with this roster and to have the impact on these very difficult games that he had is stunning. It's incredible. You have got to tip your hat to this kid who I feel like he's underrated at this point, but is everyone getting this?
I guess. I mean, I feel like it's hard to underrate him if you watch these games. He just has an immediate, obvious impact in the way that the team plays. And what is really beautiful about this to me is both in the case of him and Pepe, these are MLS Academy products, so right. Brendan Aronson obviously is going over at 20 to Europe, or 19, but that's a good deal of time that he spent in the MLS Academy system and that he spent in the actual MLS system. And the same with Pepe. Pepe is a academy kid who played in USL, now cracking into MLS, and he is good enough to come in and start a World Cup qualifier for the US and be the best offensive player on the field for the United States national team at 18 years old. And
certainly the best chance at a goal. Yeah.
He's not just someone who got plucked from, Arizona by Bayern when they were 12 years old. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, born and raised Mexican-American Texan kid.
It's so
who is able to outshine a lot of those players who got that early transfer, right? So we're seeing a space race that's epic. We knew that this thing with Americans going over these youth academies was great. I'm wearing a Dortmund shirt right now in honor of all the Yanks who've gone before. But simultaneously, man, the MLS Academy system is pumping them out. What's next? And it doesn't seem to be stopping.
Not even close. It's increased. It's increasing every year, every single year. There's more than there were the year before, and there's another Aronson on the way. Oh,
there is, not in a metaphorical sense, but there's literally
literal.
It looks really good.
All right, Ty. What is next for this team? So we've got, I think, a 3-week break or about a month-long break. We're going to go. We're all going to go back to our clubs to ice our vicious injuries.
Everybody get iced. This is too much. The 3 games is too much. I've gotten used to my routine with the Thursday game, the Tuesday game, skip the weekend. Bob's your uncle. I'm used to this rhythm. For years and years and years, I've watched the team that the windows have been a certain way. And now the windows, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, God damn, I'm emotionally exhausted from this experience. I'm exhausted. And it's like watching a club team, except that it's every game feels, so much more weighty, so it's almost like watching the NFL and they're playing 3 games in a week,
There's nothing like this. There is no sports thing like this. It's fucking wild, dude.
It's so intense. I love it. I love it. And I'm finding it hard to take, but that means I'm pushing myself. I'm growing. So I can't wait for this next window, even though I'm going to have to, rest and recuperate from this one. So then the next international window will be in October. We have Jamaica at home, Panama away, Costa Rica at home.
Oh,
So Jamaica at home is, as winnable as it gets in this situation. I sure hope there's not a lot of disagreement about that. Costa Rica, not in a great place either. Costa Rica, they're kind of between generations. They're in a pretty weak moment in their progression as a program. So I would say they're right in that middle tier with Panama, Honduras, Jamaica. And I would say probably have a lower chance of qualifying in Canada, which is a pretty rare thing in the history of CONCACAF. And so those are two very winnable home games. And then Panama away is a toughie. We have had more success there historically than we have in Honduras, at least by my recollection and impression of how we've been able to implement our game plan. So it is certainly winnable. And, if the US can take this momentum from this camp, I can see by the end of the October window that it's a very clear, duopoly at the top, the US in good position to qualify. And the stress is off. I can see that light at the end of the tunnel for there to be
that could happen.
Much easier. That could totally happen. I mean, if things go very, very haywire, we could find ourselves in a tricky spot. But I feel like this performance, the second half, it's unprecedented. It'll be so confidence building. It's so much better even than having like a great first half and then struggle.
Oh my God.
Like the
so
fact
much
that the
better.
team figured it out, they fixed it. It's so obvious. This is the blueprint. Do this. Play 4-3-3. Just keep it simple. Just let these guys do their thing.
Adams at the 6.
Away, they can do it. Adams at the 6. Just keep it simple. Let's do what we've been doing. Let's do what's working. And don't freak out when things go wrong. It's going to turn around. This group is good enough. It's going to turn around. So if we can just do that, I think the US is going to be, I hope, looks just as good in the next window and would set themselves up really, really well.
For the folks listening at home who want to know what kind of TV to watch in the next 3 weeks, if you just is it possible that you just discovered this team in this podcast from this? It's unlikely, but Ty,
Possible.
What are you it's possible. If it's you, hey, hit us up. We love you. Ty, what are you going to be watching in the club game over the next few weeks? What are you excited about?
Well, I always on a weekend I do my rounds. I start with early games. Usually, you can get some of the like second tier, the less hyped leagues. You can get your Austrian matches, things like that, first thing in the morning, and then Premier League. Obviously, being able to watch Pulisic. Watching, rolling that into watching Dest at Barcelona, watching Weston potentially at Juventus. You can fill your weekend watching these exact same players doing their thing. But then you have the opportunity to watch these MLS guys in the evening.
It sets up
beautifully. So, I'm going to be, I got to tell you, I'm going to be watching more MLS because of this window. Because of what I'm seeing from these guys, I'm going to be committing more of my time to that, and I'm happy for it. I love to see a thriving league here that is producing such incredible talent, and it's good for everybody to have the bar be high on both sides.
Yep. Watch FC Dallas. I've been tuning into these. I've been getting on the MLS every year. My MLS goes up by some percentage. My MLS minutes of watching goes up by some percentage. It won't be long till I can call myself a genuine fan of the MLS. I consider myself a newcomer and a newbie, and I'm getting to know it. But if you're like me and you're getting to know it, watch FC Dallas for sure to see Ricardo Pepi, but not just him. There are a number of U.S. prospects that have perhaps been forgotten about. Paxton Pomykal, Jesus Ferreira is there. And they seem to have the ability to generate someone from their academy, play them at the end of a season, because they usually don't do great in the postseason. So at the end of the season, they tend to introduce us to someone who then goes to AC Milan or Bayern Munich or something. So we're coming right up at FC Dallas time. They're about to tell us who the next big thing is. So tune into that and watch the Philadelphia Union. They're not as good as they were a couple of years ago, but this kid Paxton Aronson is coming up, and they throughout the season they went from him kind of cracking in. He got his first goal to at this point they're a little bit dependent actually on him for attacking opportunities, and it's pretty incredible to watch to see this actual child who is going to remind you so much of Brendan Aronson, but it's different. It's a different thing. Aronson plays in these Aronson. Brendan plays in these very quick straight lines, and Paxton plays in these sort of right angles. Like he's always like readjusting the situation, and he has this very slick touch. So I'm going to tune in for those. And don't forget Dortmund with Gio Reyna. It's fucking incredible. Gio Reyna and Erling Haaland is some of the best, most exciting soccer
TV
you can find in the world.
And by the way, every week in MLS, if you just tune into a random MLS game, you will see some freaking pimply 17-year-old hit worldies.
Yeah,
multiple. It's always a debut brace for some high schooler. It's amazing.
It's wild. You'll see a play that just doesn't make sense at the professional level. How can this be happening? And then you'll see a worldie, a mind-blowing upper 90 finish from 30 yards out. It's an incredible
15-year-old goalkeeper. What's happening?
All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of another.
Oh my God! What another window! What an experience! I mean, It's hard to say. It's like, do we enjoy this?
Again,
it's so tense. It's so stressful that it's like a lot of the time I'm verklempt watching this team. But the joy is in the not knowing. I don't know if I'm going to be let down again. And when I'm not let down, I feel so good. So good.
This is the third time in a row. That we have come into a batch of games, Nations League, then the Gold Cup, and then World Cup qualifying, where we couldn't tell if it was going well until the very, very end. And we left feeling great. That is the most consistent, happy endings I've ever experienced with this team. And I don't mean that kind of happy ending.
I'm just gonna let that slide. I understand what you mean.
Sure, this never happens. We're used to it remaining shitty and then commiserating, and perhaps the best part. Perhaps the best part is when we laugh about it all later. This time it's different. So
and that's what I want you to know, new fans. This window was not quite the coming out party that we were hoping for, where we further stamp our authority as the best team in CONCACAF. Not quite, but there is so much here. I mean, and what we're seeing already just gives us so much more hope than we've ever had for this team. It is truly unprecedented. There would be this much talent that we could be missing 5 or 6 potential starters from the US best 11 and still put together a performance like this. It's unprecedented. And so you're on the cusp of something huge when it comes to this team. So welcome aboard. If you've been here a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a wild ride one way or another. It's right. So hard for Greg to get fired from here. So hard. Man.
We gotta hope for the best.
There was a tiny chance if he lost, and he stuck with that formation, then team lost. I mean, maybe a decent chance, but not after this result. Not gonna happen. So we're gonna live or die with Greg Berhalter, and if we make it to a World Cup, it is going to be the most fucking crazy experience ever. This guy's gonna do some totally off the wall thing.
Dude, yes.
Man, we just have
Yes.
to hope he sees it in time to change it.
Hey, I am beginning to feel some confidence that he will do the wrong thing and then the right thing just barely in time.
Yeah, not a little too late, just barely in time.
I consider that a little too late because on time is at the beginning of the game. So the right, we're going to get
enough,
just barely enough.
A little too late.
Too late. All right, guys. I absolutely love graham crackers, solid snack. Try dunking those. They get mad soggy. They look like cardboard, but they taste like cardboard. They look like cardboard, but they taste fine. I like Ritz crackers as well. $1, 3 sleeves. Let's go. Get that sodium in my system. Nice and crunchy and flaky. Thank you very much. And I like a good crunch bar. You know what I mean? That shit'll get you through the day. But I don't love any of that shit as much as I absolutely love the Nats.
Forever and always. Both halves. Just love them.
Gotta love them. Insert here. Real quick after credits, don't stop recording. Real quick after credits thought is that Weston McKennie is, this worked out ideal for his growth as a human being. The fact that he was able to have a publicly embarrassing, to make this mistake this early on in qualifying, this early on in his life, and have sort of the mishigas or whatever, the hoopla all around it, the whole big deal. And yet our team still got out with 5 points and a win. And the understanding that even if he goes down, we now know that without Tyler, we can do it. Without Pulisic, we can do it.
Next man up.
This couldn't have worked out better. And for McKennie as a human being, I really love this, seeing this kind of a moment in human beings. There's a fuck up in me. I totally get it. I've done that exact type of thing with the stakes far lower. I'm a much less important person than he, but I get that. And I have a soft spot for learning moments of this nature. So I really hope that it goes the way I'm saying it will go, and that he's not like an impermeable, thick skull of just ridiculous behavior, but that this can be a turning point for him.
Well, sports is ultimately about learning and growth, and that's kind of why we're all here, is to experience things together, to grow as human beings, to better ourselves as a country, to find out about what we're capable of as a country, to come together around something. So it is perfectly within the scope of this entire experience for him to work through that. And what I love about it, as you said, is that he's disposable. Not in a cosmic sense, but he should realize that this team will be perfectly fine without him.
Yep.
If he wants to be a part of something fucking awesome and historic, you can work hard, you can tighten up the behavior, and you can be a part of it. But it's happening with or without you. So I think he will see that as a result of this. Again, I mean, God, the second half, the stakes so freaking high. It's
ridiculous.
It is absolutely stunning.
Yeah. The stakes may just have been Weston McKennie's soul.
Eternal soul. Oh man, good post credits.
Yeah, had to do it.
All right, I'll stop. Thank you for being here, YouTube.
Any questions?
I actually answered one or a couple in the chat.
That's good. It
was asked if I was of Japanese descent. I clarified that both of us are indeed of Japanese descent.
Yes.
It's been awesome to be with you all on YouTube throughout this camp. Thank you for being here. Please tell a friend. Rate and review, 5 stars. Patreon. Subscribe if you're on YouTube and you're not subscribed.
Hit that subscribe.
Then you get the little ding when we go live, but you can even turn off the ding, and then you just help us out with your subscription. So thank you.
Whatever works for you.
All right, let's get out of here.